Thank you. Welcome, everyone. I'm really excited to talk about one of my favorite dishes, and I've been cooking Ayurvedic style for a while now, and I started teaching it because I really love it so much. I think it has so many benefits, a lot of health benefits, and it's delicious. And so, just to give you like a little bit of information how I got into it is our daughter was actually very sick when she was little, and we ended up using Ayurveda as a healing for her to get her well. And through that experience, I've learned about Ayurveda, and part of Ayurveda is actually, just to give you a little, for those of you who don't know what that is, Ayurveda is the oldest holistic healing system. And it's 1,000 years old, and it comes from India. And so they use many different things. Part of it is your lifestyle, how you live, how you interact, how you do things in life, but a lot of it is food, and a lot of it is herbs, just using these amazing herbs like turmeric and ginger and cumin and cardamom and parsley and all of these things. So eating well obviously has a lot to do with the way our body operates. And healing from within is very important, and this is what Ayurveda is. So the type of cooking using certain spices, it speeds up our digestion, it makes it healthier, it improves your immune system. And so one of the things that I like about Ayurveda, they look at a body, there's three different types of body, like we're not made the same. Which is kind of obvious, but they really separate it into three different types. If anybody ever, I'm not going to go deep into it, but if you guys want to look into it, it's really amazing. It's called Kapha, Pitta, Vata, and each body type should stick to a certain diet and certain spices. The dish that we're going to make today, called Kitchari or Dhal, it is tridoshic. Basically, it fits pretty much every type, which is good, with some minor adjustment to some of the spices, but anybody can eat it. And it is the most delicate to your digestive system, so it's very easy to digest, which is great. It's used a lot of times to do cleanse. So if anybody wants to do like a food cleanse, or if you've been ill and you haven't been feeling well, you can actually eat this dish all day, same dish 2 or 3 times a day for a few days, same thing. And it will clean your system out really, really well. So these are like all of the different benefits of this amazing dish. That it's healing, it tastes great, and it's also good to eat it if you're not feeling well, because it has properties of boosting your immune system. It'll help you heal your body as well while you're fighting a bug or anything like that. And one of the reasons is because of some of these spices like ginger, turmeric, and all of this is very antibacterial and antiviral, and it could be used for many different things, but here we're using it for cooking. So what we're going to do is, these are some of the ingredients I'm just going to show you. So traditionally, dal is made from Indian lentils. They're called mung bean lentils. And I normally get yellow ones, but this time I got these green mung bean ones, so I'm going to just show them to you. Here they are. This is the product that I got. Oh, should I go this way? There you go. I'm going to check something on my phone. Give me 1 second. It's giving me a message. I'm sorry. All right, cool. So these are the lentils. That's basically the main, there we go. Okay. The main component. And these are the mung beans that I'm using. I can take a picture and also write it later for those of you who like to know more about it. Also, normally lentils are good to soak. These particular lentils are sprouted. So if you come across sprouted mung beans or sprouted lentils, there's no need for you to soak them. But primarily, the reason for soaking it is to ease your digestion process, so it's easier for you to digest. I've been soaking basmati rice in here. I like to soak it for a couple of hours prior to cooking, just to get some of the starch out. You can just rinse it if you're in a hurry. It's totally fine too, but I like to rinse it at least just a little bit. So what we're gonna do is we'll be chopping some onions and using coconut oil as our base. And all of these other ingredients that we're gonna add on later. We got the mung beans, we got the rice that I'm gonna rinse in a second. We got some tomatoes, garlic, and lemon at the end, just to sprinkle on top of it. And here are all of my spices. I love these. For those of you who want to start experimenting with spices, this is such a great little tool. You can get it in any Indian store, and you can combine them. You can see them. I'm a very visual person. Let me do it here. Here? Okay. I'm a very visual person, so I really like to
I can switch it, Eleina. Just give me a second to
Oh,
switch.
yeah, go ahead. Sorry. I'll go back. There you go. Can you guys see it? Oh, I'm going to open it. Oh. So this is a really nifty kind of box. This is where I keep all of my spices. They're right in here. And it comes with a little spoon. And again, you can get it in any Indian store, and you can store them like that. These are my cardamom pods. This is my turmeric. And this actually, which is you can easily get it at our Park Slope Food Coop, which is not everybody carries it. These are mustard seeds. And I'll show you how I use them. I really love them. They give a great flavor to the dish. And they act like a little bit like popcorn. They start to pop as soon as you start cooking them, which is kind of fun. So let's start chopping things up so we can get going. First, I'm gonna cut the onion, and we're gonna use, well, I prefer to use ghee. And oops, I did not have ghee. I'm gonna use coconut oil, which is perfectly fine as well. For those of you who like ghee, or if you want to know more about it, ghee is clarified butter, and it's often used in Ayurvedic cooking, or even for healing. So that's a really great thing. Okay, chop some onions. One good thing about coconut oil, in the summertime, it's already melted, so you don't have to it's not that hard to get it out of your jar. So here's the coconut oil. Heat up our pot, and I'm gonna bring everything closer so you guys can see what I'm doing. Let me get some spoons. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to heat up an oil first, and then we're going to put some onion there and garlic. What I want to say is one of the most important things while making any kind of Ayurvedic dishes, especially, you don't want to burn the spices. So you want to make sure that you're only doing it for a few minutes, like sauteing it, and just watch it on the flame, that the flame is not too high, because if you burn them, they kind of lose their nutrient power. So you want to preserve the nutrients, and also it affects the taste as well. So that's the only thing that you really kind of have to watch, but I'll show you exactly how I do it. Is once the onions are done and sauteed, and I'm crying already from them a little bit, then I'm gonna start adding the spices and just quickly sauteing them. And the wonderful things that happen when I do that is the house starts to fill up with smell. And especially in the Ayurveda, the digestive system, the way they teach it is starts with visual. So when we look at food, it's the way the food looks, the way the food smells, and it all kind of affects our digestion system, and it all affects how we process food, and also affects what kind of benefits we get from it. So by looking at it and looking at all these wonderful colors, turmeric especially creates a beautiful orange color. to any food. Just be very careful because it stains everything. But it's super beneficial and gives a lot of beautiful color to the food. But just be careful when you're using it. So let's put some onions in there.
Elena, there's
Yes.
a question from JJ.
Yes?
They're asking, is coconut oil tridosic?
Yes. Just make sure that the coconut oil that you're getting is organic and it's raw. Then it's fine. Yep.
What does tridosic mean?
So Ayurveda teaches that there's 3 different body types. Okay, so they divide them. So person who's, for instance, a kapha, I'm considered a kapha. You have to take a test to figure out what body type you are. So, for example, I'm a kapha, so I can only eat certain. For me to keep my body healthy and functioning properly, I should be careful to what I'm putting in my body. So I can't have too many sweets. I shouldn't have too many sweets. I shouldn't have too many fatty things. And certain spices ignite my digestion too much. So you don't want to have too much. You don't want to have too little. So that's some of the examples. So each body type kind of divides into different categories. What spices you should eat, which food you should be consuming more, and what you should be staying away from. So that's the most fascinating thing about it. And it's easy to take a test online. Actually, if you go to Deepak Chopra's website, he has a test on there you can take. It's very easy. So I'm going to put some mustard seeds. And you might hear them pop a little bit. And once it starts going, we're going to start adding the spices, which is the most important part of this process. Because like I mentioned, we don't want to burn them. We just want to lightly saute them. I'm going to chop some garlic while that's happening. Okay. I'm going to put some garlic in there. There we go. I'm going to add a little more coconut oil. All right, and here comes the spices. So everything, I'm going to use this little nifty spoon that I like so much. And just going to add everything in here. Some cardamom, some turmeric, curry powder. I'm going to mix it just for a little bit, just like a minute or 2. I'm going to bring it over to show you guys. And I wish you could smell it. Oops, there we go. Now the spices are done. I'm going to lower the fire a little bit. I'm going to start adding everything. I'm going to put the mung beans in here. The tomatoes. And I'm going to add some water. I'm going to quickly rinse my rice and add that in there. And we're going to mix everything together. One note, you can actually make rice separately and mix it later. That's fine too. I like to make it together. That's an option. You can definitely make rice separately. And there's my 3 cups of water in here. And the only thing that I'm gonna add now is salt. I'm gonna mix everything really well. And again, as I was saying earlier, one of the most important things is the color. So there we go. That looks really pretty. There's a lot of different colors here. We have the green, we have the red, we have the yellow, the orange. I'm gonna make the fire a little bit more, flame a little more. And add some salt in here. And that's about it. So the only thing, oh, I forgot about cinnamon sticks. I'm gonna add some cinnamon stick in there too. It is a very simple dish to make. And as I mentioned before, the most important thing is the spice. You wanna make sure that nothing is burned. So you're just sauteing it for a few minutes and until you get the aroma. Once you get the aroma and you fill up the fragrance of your kitchen, you know you're ready to go. So we're gonna mix it up really, really well. I'm gonna bring it to a boil and we're gonna simmer it. So what you wanna do is you wanna make sure that the lentils are done. Rice and lentils will cook about the same time, maybe 20 minutes or so. So I always taste to make sure that the lentils are soft. If you like it mushy, perfect. You can cook it maybe up to 30 minutes. It's fine. And another great thing about the lentils, I forgot to mention, they have a really high content of protein, which is really good. So it's healthy. So you have a great combination of protein and carbs with rice. So it's a perfect balanced dish. And again, the mung beans are either have whether it's green or whether it's yellow ones, they have one of the highest concentration of protein. Now, what I wanted to tell you one more thing. So because these lentils that I'm making already sprouted, and I mentioned that that's going to be easier on the digestion, there is another product that I really, really like. It's called hing. This is what it looks like. And you can actually get it at the co-op now too. Another name for it is asafoetida, but it's easier to remember hing. So it's a great spice to use when you're cooking something heavy, especially beans, and it helps break it down and helps the digestion. But since these are sprouted, it's not necessary to do. And so we're gonna skip that, but make a note of that. That's a really great thing to have. I'm gonna add some.
Eleina, can we see that in the camera?
There's
That last spice, what do you call it, hang?
hing.
Can we see that in the camera?
Can I point it to the camera? Which one?
Yeah.
My phone?
Yeah.
Yes. Give me 1 second. Let me see where it's a very, very fine print. And I'm trying to see where it says the name. Give me 1 second. This is it, I think. Can you see it?
Oh, not really.
Yeah.
But where would you find something like that in the spice aisle?
Yes, it's at our co-op where all the spices are. It's on top.
Got it.
Yeah, that's where I found it. We didn't have it for a while, but now we started carrying it recently. It's a really great add to your dishes, especially the ones that have beans in them.
Can we take a couple of questions?
Absolutely.
Okay, first question. Confirmation, what kind of rice were you using?
Oh, sorry, basmati. Organic
rice.
basmati rice. Yes, I forgot to mention. Sorry about that.
Okay, and then Jeff is asking, are Dhal lentils and dried mung beans the same thing?
Absolutely. Yep.
Wow.
Okay, and Jessica's asking, is asafoetida, did I say that right? Is also called hing. Can you spell hing?
I think it's H-I-N-G.
Okay, so Pavrin is saying that it's H-I-N-G or H-E-E-N-G.
Exactly. There are two. That's why I paused that. There's two different spellings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mina is asking, can you tell me the type and amount of spices you used? Do you use 1 tablespoon of coconut oil?
I used I actually put a little bit more, normally a tablespoon. But if I see that if I left the fire a little bit too high, I didn't want to burn the spices, so I added more. But normally a tablespoon is more than enough. And I also use a tiny spoon like this size, that if you guys want to get this box, it comes with it. But it's basically a teaspoon. And so I just put take a teaspoon of each of these spices, which is very convenient. And you can obviously adjust it. So if you like things like a little bit with a little bit of a kick, you can put a little more. So right before the dish is ready, taste it. If you want to add things, go ahead and add things as well. So I do a lot of things kind of by feel these days. So I don't really measure things too much, but teaspoon of each spice will give you like a nice moderate amount of flavor.
Gotcha. And Jeff just posted the recipe in the chat.
Perfect.
If you want the exact recipe.
So the only thing I have to say, I made a little typo. So where it says in the beginning, there's 3 cups of water, and then later on it says a cup of water again. I meant to say a cup of rice. So you don't need to use water twice. I'm sure you guys will figure it out. So it's a total of 3 cups of water, and there's 1 cup of rice in the bottom, not water. So, and another thing is, so since we started talking about family cooking, I like to bring my family a lot of times into the kitchen, and hopefully my husband will join me in a minute to talk about it a little bit. It takes a lot to get your family to eat healthy sometimes. It depends how you start, and we did not start eating healthy, so we had to transition, and it took a few years. And one of the tricks that I found is you have to find something fun to do together and try different flavors of different vegetables. So another great thing about this dish, you can add any vegetables in there, and it's still dal. It comes with vegetables as well. I just put some tomatoes in there, and base is lentils and rice, but you can put zucchini in there, you can put cauliflower in there. And what I do is my kids go through phases. This season they like broccoli. All of a sudden, 6 months later, we don't want broccoli anymore. So I have to find different ways of mixing up different vegetables. So I'll put a different one in there, and I'll play with spices a little bit. Another thing that you can add to it to give it a little bit more creaminess is coconut milk, which you can also find at the co-op, organic coconut milk. And you can put a tablespoon of it in there as well. It'll give a little bit creaminess to it and make it slightly sweeter. And you can even add some coconut flakes in there as well. So it'll give the sweetness and the creaminess to it. And that's what I do. A lot of times I'll just mix up different vegetables, and they don't even know if it's the same dish. It kind of looks like a completely different dish every time, which is fun. What else we're going to talk about? Any more questions?
No.
Awesome. Let me see if this is boiling. Just going to see if it's almost ready. It'll take maybe another 10-15 minutes for it to be ready. And the other thing that I was going to talk about is the experiment with the spices as well. I mean, these are all the basic spices that I use: the cumin, turmeric, cardamom. There's some curry powder. I also have some the mustard seeds. Mustard seeds comes in different. There's mustard seed, whole mustard seeds. You can also find a ground mustard seed. It's fine. It's the same thing. I prefer this because, like I said in the beginning, if you start sauteing it, it pops. It gives that, I don't know. It's fun. I like to have fun. So if you add fun things to the kitchen, it makes it even more interesting, and it does give like a slightly different flavor to it. So just kind of play around with all of these spices and mix them up. Sometimes I'll just pick up whatever I have and I'll mix different things to see seasonally, really. With each season, I will kind of switch them up and try to see which one works better.
We have a question from Mara.
Yes.
She says, do you have to use Dhal lentils, or is it okay to use green, red lentils? Or are red, green lentils a type of Dhal lentil?
No, there's different type of lentils. There's mung bean lentils. They come in a few different colors. So these are the green ones. Then you have the yellow ones. And then there's French lentils. Those are different. So there's the little orange one, the little green ones. They look a little bit different. It'll say French lentils. Could you use it in this dish? Absolutely. This is just a traditional kind of staple. This is what's normally used is mung beans, which could be the green or yellow. But any one of those little lentils, they're really, really high in protein, which is one of the things that I like about them. You can go ahead and use those too. Just keep in mind, the dish will come out mushier. It'll be softer because they do tend to break down faster than the regular mung beans.
I have a question.
Yes.
Does this freeze well, and does the texture change when you defrost it?
I am not a big fan of freezing things, and because it does change the flavor and the texture. But it'll keep enough nutrients in there if you do it. But that's another thing in Ayurveda. They actually recommend to eat fresh, and they recommend to eat that day. The day you make the meal, you make just that meal for one, for the family to eat and not to have leftovers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the fresher the food is, the better it is and more nutrients it will have. Again, it's okay to freeze things. Just understand that a lot of times that you will lose a little bit of a flavor and oh, honey, come say hello, and nutrients in it. So yeah, and the texture also. But
Which camera you're in?
We're here, right, Jen?
What is that? Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Hello.
Hello.
Am I going over here? Wait, so hold on.
It's okay. It's okay. Could leave it.
Okay.
So my husband can talk a little bit about our family style. How did we become more holistic and more natural and started cooking? We weren't into it at all. How many years has it been?
Well, when we got into holistic was
Yes.
about 14, when Isabel got sick was about
Yes.
14 years
14
ago.
years
And
ago.
healthy cooking, we started when I went vegan.
Okay.
And you were confused what to cook for a vegan. I'm the only vegan in the family. Everybody eats meat and all that stuff. And so she, when I started going vegan, she didn't know how to cook vegan food. All she knew was how to cook Russian food. And Russian food is very far from vegan. It's meat for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. And so she decided to start learning how to cook vegan food. And I started reading books on health and nutrition and started studying all that stuff. And she wound up getting interested into that. And she decided she wants a happy husband. And didn't like me in the kitchen because every time I cook in the kitchen, I make a mess. So my wife got me out of the kitchen many years ago. And so she started taking over the cooking, and that's how she got into the healthy cooking stuff. So.
And even our kids started. I was saying that our kids now eat vegetables as well.
Yeah, and we started sneaking. The kids wouldn't eat healthy food because I used to be 50 pounds heavier, pre-diabetic, high blood pressure, and so we used to have, besides eating a lot of meat, I used to have sugar breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And when we started going healthy, the kids wouldn't touch the stuff because they never ate fresh greens and fresh vegetables. So I started making smoothies for them and sneaking kale and greens into the smoothies and making something sweet and chocolate, combining it. And so what I found is after the kids would eat, I would put kale in a smoothie, and afterwards, I would have the kids try the kale, and the kale actually tasted good because their palate adapted to it. So by the way, for all of you who have kids who won't eat any greens, sneak it into sweet stuff first, like the things that they like, blend it up so they can't tell, and their palate subconsciously will adapt to it. So
Thank you.
I got to get back to work.
Well, thank you for that.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you.
Great input. Thank you, honey. So so this is about done. I'm going to take it. We only have a few minutes left, but you'll see how this looks. And the way you test it is you want to make sure that the lentils are done and they're nice and soft. So there you go. Here it is. It is
Whoa.
absolutely beautiful. I may say
Nice.
so myself. And I'm just gonna taste it a little bit and see if the lentils are soft. What I like to do, it's a little hot, but I like to pop it. Nope, it's not done yet. Maybe another 10 minutes. But this is pretty much, it's very close to what the dish looks like. And another reason why I like those little, I don't know if you can see those mustard seeds, you can actually see them in there. So the mustard seeds are visible, you got the tomatoes, you have the onions, the lentils look good, and they have all the colors in there. So that's it. And I think this is the perfect time to use this dish, as all of us are trying to stay healthy, to build our immune system. So this is it. This is Dhal. And I hope this was helpful. And at the end, I'm just gonna, when it's done, I'm gonna sprinkle some lemon to it. And you can also garnish it with cilantro. That's another thing that goes really well with it. And that's it. So if you guys like, I have a page on Facebook. It's called the Start a Healthy New You. I believe Jeff actually edited there somewhere, that posts a lot of different recipes on there, including this one. And if you have any more questions or anything like that, just you can find me there or email me, and I'd love to answer it for you.
Are you still at the Facebook Health and Wellness Connection? Is that?
I have that page, but I stopped using it.
Oh, okay.
Most of my stuff is on Start a Healthy New You. Start a Healthy New You is a more active one.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So this is where you can find a lot of information, and I'm trying to put more videos in there as well and try to get it a little more. But there's definitely, it's been up for about 1.5 years, so there's lots of different recipes there.
Okay. There's a question from Jessica. Can you recommend a good intro to Ayurveda?
A good what? I'm sorry?
A good intro? Maybe her website. A book.
Oh, okay. So I need to grab my book. I'll be right back. So whoever was asking about Ayurveda, this is a really great book. This one was written by our doctor that healed our daughter, Dr. Bhattacharya. So it's called Everyday Ayurveda. So if you want to read up on it, look it up. It's on Amazon. She describes it beautifully in there. And Dr. Vasant Lad is who I follow a lot of times to get a lot of my recipes. Can you guys see it?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So he's, there's a school, Ayurvedic school in New Mexico where he teaches. He's a great teacher, and you can follow him. There's also a website, and there's a lot of, like you could tell, like I have a lot of things in here, and I constantly refer to it. So these are, like, if you're a beginner, especially if you want to learn about Ayurveda, these are really great books to start. So again, this is one book, Everyday Ayurveda and Ayurvedic.
Eleina, if you send me the information on those books, I'll post it on the website.
Yes, absolutely. And again, there's a lot of stuff out there, but this is what I prefer. And you can also go on Dr. Deepak Chopra's website if you'd like to get your doshas tested to see where you are, and you can read up on it a little bit more. I'll send you the name of the books.
So I have a question. If your family has different types, do you cook to suit each of those types, or you cook just universal things like dal?
There are a lot of tridoshic dishes.
Okay.
So you have to find dishes that fits everybody. And also another thing, it's your body type changes with the season too. So if you really want to follow it strictly, you have to keep retesting yourself. We do it kind of by feel by now, just to see how you feel and how your body reacts to certain food. That's how you could tell. Like, our body is very smart. It can really tell you that it's something that you're eating that it's not good for you, and digestion and bloating and all of these different things. If people would pay attention to it, you would know that your body telling you that what you just ate, it's probably not good for you. So you don't have to go through all of these deep testing and stuff. You can just actually listen to your body and follow what it tells you, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And did you start this healthy cooking journey before co-op or after co-op?
Before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And are you able to get everything you need at the co-op?
Everything. This is my favorite place to shop. And again, one of the best things is the spices. Co-op has the best prices on them, the best quality, and I've tested many different things. And after a while, you understand what quality of spices is when you cook. And when I use these spices, you could tell the difference in food. And it's the most important thing when in cooking is making sure that they're clean quality, that they're organic. So, and every single one of them, like the only one was that hang product that I really wanted, and I kept asking for it. And finally, I think last year they got it at the co-op. So I pretty much have everything I need. I don't have to go running around looking for things. It's all in one place. So definitely everything that I make comes from the co-op pretty much.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a question from Michelle. Are the co-op spices better than at Khalistan? Did I say that right? Khalistan?
Not familiar.
Khalistan. K-A-L-U-S-T-Y-A-N.
Khalistians.
Khalistan.
It's an Indian and Eastern Asian store in like Little India and 27th Street and Park.
Oh, yes. I can't say because I don't know. I used to go to Queens years ago before.
Probably just as good. I imagine they're on par, but probably more expensive at Khalistians. Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. I'm not saying that they're probably on par, and in that area there's a lot of Indian restaurants on the 27th in Lexington somewhere. That's where it is. Mm-hmm. I'm sure they're really good, but I'm pretty sure they're more expensive. I haven't seen anything price-wise that comes close to the spices at the co-op. And quality-wise, I've tried many different. I used to order them online. There's a company called Binding Botanical and Indian Ayurveda, India Ayurveda something. I forgot. There's so many of them, and some of them are really, really high quality. The bottom line is all of them are very expensive. So because I guess we get them in bulk at the co-op, we're able to, and also because the way the co-op is set up, we get a lot of things cheaper, and spices is one of them because good ones cost a lot of money. They're not cheap, yeah.
Mina is asking, can I find your beautiful box of spices in co-op as well?
No, but you could probably get it on Amazon.
You can get it at Khalistians also.
Yeah, like I said, any Indian store just says Sunrise. I've had this for many, many, many years. I bought it before I started shopping at the co-op and Indian store in Queens. So yeah, or Amazon, but we don't have it at the co-op.
She says, thanks.
You're welcome. I think anything you could buy, like these types of things you can buy on Amazon these days. Let me check. It's ready. Okay. I'm just gonna grab a plate. And there we go.
We have a question from Tamar K. asking any tips for labeling the spices in the round box. I forget what's what most of the time.
So if you look closely, I have there's like sticky notes here. That's what I used to do. The only trick is you have to make sure that when you put it on, that it correlates with the one that you want. So what I would do is the easiest one to remember is turmeric, because it's super, super yellow. So where I had the sticker that said turmeric, I would put it on over turmeric, and that's how I know where the rest of them are. That was my method to my madness. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the cover is clear, so I would create the little labels here, and as long as I knew where turmeric was, I can align it to the rest of them. Just as long as you don't mix it around. Keep them in the same order. And by the way, our dish is done. There you go. Can I do it on this camera, Jeff? You think it would see it a little better?
Yes, give me 1 second.
Uh-huh. Oh, you want lemon? Oh. Up, there you go.
Oh,
Hold it up there 1 more second. I'm taking a picture.
Oh, okay.
Okay, got it.
All right. That's it. Awesome. Thank you.
Facebook.
If you guys think of any more questions later, let me know.
thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.